everyone, Anya here at Our Gabled Home, where I like to share tips for a simple, beautiful, healthy and sustainable living. In today's video, I would like to show you how you can make canned apple pie filling. This is the summer season with a bounty of apples, and in my son's backyard we have an apple tree that produces tons of apples, but to be honest, they're not actually all that tasty. And instead of letting them go to waste or just throwing them out, I thought that we could turn them into canned apple pie filling. This is really versatile. You can use it as an apple pie filling for an apple pie that you make later in the year. So you have this canned on hand. You can also use it hot and spoon ice cream over it. You can do all sorts of different things with it. You can have it on top of your pancakes or with any other pastries in the morning. So the ideas here are endless. And here is a jar of freshly canned apple pie filling that is just still cooling down, so that's why I'm touching it with fingers like this. For this canned apple pie filling, we'll use our apples. Now obviously it always depends on what size apples you have. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 sort of small medium-ish apples here. That's a little bit more than 2 pounds, and I am using about a 1/4 cup of starch. You can also use cornstarch. And then I'm going to be adding coconut sugar. You can also use maple sugar or regular sugar, whatever you have, and lemon and cinnamon. So the first thing we'll do is we'll cut up the apples. Now, you have 2 choices. You can either peel the apples, which will give you a much softer apple end product, or you can leave the apples unpeeled, which leaves a lot of good, healthy vitamins and nutrients on the apple. So I'm going to actually peel them. And it doesn't matter if there's a little apple peel on the apple. It's not perfect. It adds just a little bit of interest. You always know you have organic apples is when there's little critters in there. So also I have my pot here, and I have about a good cup of water in there. Actually, before I put the apples in there, I want to add the lemon juice. What the lemon juice will do is, I know that these apples are going to brown really quick. Oftentimes commercial apples that you can buy in the store have been bred so that they don't brown very quickly, and most garden apples that just grow in somebody's backyard are probably the variety that will brown pretty quickly. And if we're adding a lemon juice to the water here, that will keep our apples nice and bright. We are in the middle of a kitchen remodel, so I don't have a lot of my regular tools and items. For example, a lemon press. So I'm making do as much as I can. So I'm putting about 4 or 5 tablespoons of lemon juice in here. And in the end, it doesn't really matter. You just adjust the taste with sugar. And then I'm just going to cut up the apples in little pieces and put them in the lemon water here. If there's a little seed that gets in here, it's a good idea to take that out. I have 2 in here. So now that we're done with cutting up all the apples, cored and cut up in little pieces, my pot is a little small, but as I said, we're in the middle of a kitchen remodel, so that's all I have for now. And as I'm going to be cooking these apples, they're going to fall in a little bit more and give me a little bit more room in my pot here. I will also save the apple peels to make apple cider vinegar. Now, to my apples, I am adding, and I'm just gonna go a little bit less on the cornstarch. You can always add a little bit more water. And I will add, I'm just gonna start with 3 tablespoons, rounded tablespoons of the coconut sugar, but you can always adjust the taste. And our family, we are used to eating less sweet actually, and some families like their apple pie filling a little bit sweeter. Also remember that when you can this, you want to add some sugar, but you can also, however you're using it, if you're using it in an apple pie and you find it's not sweet enough, you can always add a little sugar later. If you're using it as the base of something else or over ice cream, you can always add some sugar. So I would go a little less sugar at this point than too much, because it's always easier to add it later than when it's too sweet. And I mean, obviously you can always add a little bit more lemon juice to make it a little bit more tart. And lastly, we'll add the cinnamon, and I will add about a tablespoon of cinnamon here. Now we'll go and boil this on the stove until the apples become soft. So now I'm just boiling down the apples, and I've actually added just a little bit more water. I will link that in the description box below as to how much water I added to the apples, and then put them on simmer so that they soften up and get boiled down. And again, this is not the ideal pot. Ideally, you would have a bigger pot. This is all that I have, because in this other pot, I have been sterilizing my canning jars. So now we're ready to can the apple pie filling. And again, my pot here is actually too small for this amount of apples. In this pot, I have my sterilized canning jars. I want to say things about canning. Now, I was born and I grew up in Germany, and canning practices are a little bit different over there than they're over here. And I will link some resources in the description box below where you can find safe canning practices. I know that in this country it is considered safe practice to either water bath can or pressure can for the fear of botulism. I will also link a longer article by an official government agency. I forget what the name is, but it's concerned about food and food safety. And they published an article saying that you do not need to be worried about botulism in canning fruits, because there's no protein in it, and botulism can't grow where there's no protein. Now, fruits are considered to be no protein or very, very, very low protein. So that is why I have all my life, and my family has all their life, been just sterilizing jars in the oven or in a hot water bath, and then just adding the hot whatever canning we're doing, the jam or the apple pie filling, to the jars, screw our canning lids on, and wait for them to create that vacuum. And that's how I do it. However, please do your own research and do what you feel is best. Do not ever trust anyone. If you feel that pressure canning or water bath canning for 20 minutes is a safe practice, please by all means do so. And so I have my canning jar, and I will fill the apple pie filling in here. Ideally, you have a bigger spoon and a funnel. Again, we're in the middle of a kitchen remodel. I do not have all the things at hand that I need. They're somewhere packed up in boxes. So I'm just doing the best I can. We want to fill it pretty full, So just about a 1/4 inch from the top. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, and if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. I upload new content every week. You can also hop on over to my blog at ourgabledhome.com, where I have more tips and recipes. And thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.